Today I have for you 3 super effective sparring techniques that I want you to try in your upcoming sessions. I think if you just give a little attention, a little effort to the 3 things I'm going to share with you today, you're going to have some favorite new moves for sparring. We have only a couple days left to get early bird pricing on my upcoming Strike Ready Takedown course, where we focus on sweeps and throws and all sorts of ways to train this fantastic element of our fight sport, plus how to avoid getting thrown. Guys, make sure you jump on the early bird pricing before it disappears. Now, we are talking about a couple lovely little things that I like to do in sparring, which I don't necessarily get to bring out in my fights because, as I always say, if we're this good when we are in the gym, we're like this good somewhere down here when we fight. But these are things which I love doing and I want you to try. The very first thing which we're going to talk about here is using the front kick fake to set up a round kick at any height off the opposite side. I want to point out a couple details which you may not have realized yet, which will really help you, which have really helped me. Very first thing is when I lift my leg up and I want to get a reaction out of this guy, if I'm not always getting it, there's one of 2 things happening. Very first, either my distance is entirely off, like if I'm faking from back here, trying to get a reaction and this guy knows he just can't take impact, he's not gonna have the reaction you want. That's the very first thing. But the second and more important is I like to show them the bottom of my foot. I find when people see the bottom of the foot versus just doing this where it's the top of the foot, it makes a massive difference. So play around with that as you do your fake. Just extend your leg out slightly, let them see the bottom of the foot, crank it up high. And now from there, the only thing you need to do is figure out where are you going to step. If you need to cover more distance, you step forward. If you want to get your head off the center line, you step to the outside. And then of course, you need to figure out, am I going to go low or middle or high? And you can do this off either side, sometimes off the lead leg with that little power slide forward, and then looking for the opportunity wherever it presents itself. Try not to pre-plan, like, oh, I'm gonna only do a low kick, because then if the guy's already in that check position, maybe his head's open. So as you lift here, be ready to make adjustments. I absolutely love this. The next one I want to talk about is something that we see Haggerty do a lot. Jonathan Haggerty, who's actually fighting tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. You should be sure to check that out. Fighting a very talented Chinese fighter who has not been defeated since 2018. But anyway, what Haggerty does is he comes off his left round kick and he uses that to switch his stance. Now from here, what he'll do is kind of go back to what we were just talking about, where you fake the front kick or you fake the front kick and then come in with something else. You don't necessarily need to follow with the round kick, but from here, not just coming down and resetting to this position, use this stance switch to throw them off. It does not take much in terms of switching stances to make somebody think, to make them pause. They start going, oh, what's happening here? Okay, that happens all the time to me when somebody switches their stance. I go, whoa, what's this person up to? So if I throw the round kick and I land right to here, and then I start using this for something else, there's a really good chance it's gonna work. I find I have massive success with it. What are we looking to do? The fine details. Throw your round kick as always. And now from here, you need to decide, do I wanna step and just plant my feet, or do I wanna take a long step back and get back to this range so that now I have more distance where I could maybe come off something like that, which we talked about before. But play around where this foot lands, because that ultimately will make the difference on which type of technique you're gonna follow up with next. The final small detail, which sort of ties in with everything else that we were just talking about, you could use all of these together today, but the final one that I wanna talk about is the ability to throw a round kick, make this guy think you're gonna throw a round kick, but not follow through on the extension of the leg. So I get to here, but instead of snapping through, I just let my leg not make contact. Why would I do that? Well, it's all about a setup. I'm setting something up. If you are great at side kicks, you could come through like this, drop, and then slam that side kick down the middle. You could even get fancier with it and just keep it elevated. You can use this to move into a spinning side kick or a spinning back fist. Either of those are great. So if I did something before, like, oh, on that number 2 technique I showed you, where we come from here and we step back, now he's already thinking about this left round kick. So I could come right through and come and land something much fancier. And it's a great way to make sure that anybody who's not blocking this kick perfectly, like they're dropping their hands, or when they reach out to try and catch it, they're not covering their head first. If they're doing any tiny detail of defense wrong, you can exploit it. Right from there, up to something like a spinning hook kick. That is gonna work so well. So play around with everything I mentioned today. Faking the front kicks, switching the stance off the round kick, coming through with a round kick, and following up with something else. All of these tie together so well, and when you can start flowing from one to the other, or creating long combinations, you can give this person a world of frustration and just start landing so much easier than you were in the past with your kicks. This has just been my experience. Anyway, I hope this helps you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you haven't already, get subscribed, train hard, and I will see you back here soon for another episode.